Welcome to Chapter 4. From now on, we are entering a new part, the second part out of the three parts, that we are going to discuss some new subjects. The new thing that comes in the second part is the discussion about sequence learning. In motor learning, we have skills learning and sequence learning. In skills learning, we deal with different segments, we deal with separated parts, like a forehand drive by itself, and in sequences, in learning sequences, we combine separated parts to bigger sequences, like hitting 4 strokes. That's a sequence of 4 different skills. So let's see what we have seen till now. Simply put, we have seen the biomechanical model, which is of course the way we do the skills themselves, the 2 paired models for motor learning and physical conditioning. First, they are the synthetic ones, so these are more fundamental. They are practiced, for example, outside of the court. And then we have the primary models that are learning using tennis as a means. From today on, we will see things about sequences. So we will see concepts like drill structure, drill synthesis or drill composition, motor words, and on the next level we will see the very well known random practice, blocked practice and serial practice, which are called practice programs. No matter what I say, everybody knows that I have to hit many repetitions before I improve, before I become a professional player even. If we are discussing about becoming a professional player, we may be referring to hundreds of thousands of repetitions of a single skill. As we already know, practice makes perfect. This is a truth already told by Periander of Corinth, one of the 7 sages of classical antiquity in Greece. This is a half-truth, therefore it's a lie. Why? Because it's not practice that makes perfect, it's perfect practice. We have seen till now in the biomechanical model, for instance, what type of skills are the ingredients of this perfect practice. Now we will see what type of sequences make up this perfect practice. In order to help you understand the general context of what we are going to see in this and in the next chapters, I have made some notes on the board. So, the first level is synthesis, drill synthesis and drill structure. So what are these? What do they mean? You have never heard of these because they are part of the distal method. Drill synthesis and drill structure are criteria by which we select the movements that have to do with the quality versus the movements. I will explain and you will understand it as we go on. So, in synthesis, the criterion for the selection is the movement. So I combine different skills based on what types of movements I want to combine. Therefore, maybe I want to have a drill that has 4 elements, 1 forehand, 1 backhand drive, 1 forehand volley, 1 backhand volley. That's 4 elements. So I compose the skill. This way of choosing skills is necessary for creating drills having different elements. However, drill structure is something that the bibliography has not referred to, but it is equally important, because drill structure is selecting skills based on the quality we want to achieve. So, for example, Okay, I have a selection of drills of different strokes. I have one forehand and one backhand, but I can hit the forehand and the backhand under pressure. I can hit it offensively. I can hit it defensively. I can hit it at a crucial point on the match. I can hit it when I am losing the match. Okay, so if we put the quality and if we find ways to insert the quality into the synthesis, into the different strokes put together, we have a completely new way of dealing with the skill. Drill structure is absolutely necessary to go from practicing movements to competition. That's the bridge. Then we have practice schedules. Practice schedules is again a criterion, but it's a criterion for the selection of sequences. It is well known, it is obvious that I have to combine different strokes. Okay, but I have to learn skills. So how do I make these combinations? We have three ways to do it, and one added by me. So we have blocked practice, serial practice, and random practice. These are very well known practice schedules. So in blocked practice, I have one skill, only one skill, and I make a sequence with just one skill. For example, and this is a common misbelief, I have to train my forehand drive. I have a bad forehand drive. I have a bad backhand drive. So what do? I will hit 1,000 backhand drives in a row. This generates to us the idea that I will improve it. And yes, I improve it, but this improves the performance, not the learning. Therefore, it makes proximal adaptations and not distal adaptations that we are after. However, none of this is right or wrong. Okay, each one has its place, and I will explain which place each one has. Serial practice is when I have different skills, but the order is known. For example, I have a sequence of 6 strokes, and I tell the athlete, okay, now you will hit alternatively one forehand drive, one backhand drive. So he knows that he will be hitting forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, end. So it's more complicated, it's more enriched than blocked practice. And of course I have random practice where I tell him you will hit forehand drives and backhand drives, or I tell him nothing at all, and I just feed him in a random way. The athlete doesn't know what to expect. Maybe we have told him the options, that he will have to do these 2, 3, or 4 strokes only, or do anything. In between the serial and the random practice, I have created a bridging way to practice skills. This is called the motto words that we will see later on. Motto words are ways to have a practice schedule in between serial practice and random practice. Relevant themes with schedules is degrees of freedom and contextual interference. Degrees of freedom have to do with the possible positions a system can take. For example, if I have only my knee joint, okay, and I have no other movement, the only possible positions are knee extension and knee flexion. So I have two degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom are not just for sports, they are relevant in chemistry and in other sciences. Contextual interference is a phenomenon in which irrelevant stimuli improve learning. So I practice something and I have distractors, and this helps me improve. If you remember, I have already discussed this. If we were computer programs, if I'm writing code in a computer program, I can't have contextual interference. I cannot improve the computer by entering distractions inside the program, it will fail. But because we humans are anti-fragile systems, as Taleb said, the notion of anti-fragility, we improve when we face difficulties. So you can take contextual interference as a kind of difficulty that we put inside our practice. And I have one more thing to say. Which one is better? Which one is a winner? The winner in the analytic method, of course, has to do with when and why I'm using each part. Okay, so for example, it's no use. Structure is absolutely necessary for training for competition. But if I'm talking for offensive strokes or defensive strokes to a player who can't even grasp the rules of the game, it's of no use. Okay, blocked practice is very important when we have to train skills of a player that has an injury, so he cannot afford to do some kind of unexpected movement that will injure him more, or it's very good way to practice when we have complete beginners and we want to do the basics, but not take over whole training sessions, just for the beginning, for a very, very limited number of cycles. Okay, for, I don't know, if you want to be more specific, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but not all the time. Serial practice is the next level, so, and random practice is the final level. So in random practice, I don't know where the ball is coming and I'm prepared for everything. The criterion, again, is what I want to achieve. For example, if I want to achieve motor learning, and if I put a sequence, a schedule that is more than what the athlete can take, and he becomes tensed, then it's too much. Okay, so this is the way I need to adjust the selection of the practice schedule.